The rain slammed against the cracked windshield of the old Chevy pickup, parked crookedly in the driveway of a sagging double-wide trailer in rural Ohio. Inside, 13-year-old Lily Carter sat on the edge of her bed, her knees pulled tight to her chest, listening to the storm. Her heart pounded louder than the thunder. Down the hall, her stepmother, Brenda, was screaming again, her voice a jagged blade slicing through the thin walls. "You useless little brat. You think you're too good for this house." The words weren't new, but they cut deeper every time. Lily's small hands trembled as she clutched a worn stuffed rabbit. Its left ear half torn from years of being her only comfort. Tonight felt different, heavier, like the air itself was pressing her into the ground. Brenda stormed into Lily's room, her bleach blonde hair wild, her eyes bloodshot from too many Miller Lights. She held a belt, the one with the heavy brass buckle that left welts Lily hid under long sleeves at school. "You didn't do the dishes right. Again. You think I'm your maid." Brenda's voice was a snarl, her breath sour with alcohol. Lily shrank back, her voice barely a whisper. I tried, Brenda. I swear." But Brenda wasn't listening. The belt cracked through the air, and Lily's cry was swallowed by the storm outside. This wasn't a one-off. It had been like this for 2 years, ever since Lily's dad, Tom, married Brenda after her mom died in a car accident on I-70. Tom, a long-haul trucker, was gone for weeks at a time, hauling freight across the Midwest. He thought Brenda was strict but fair, a woman who'd keep the house in order while he was out earning a living. He couldn't know the monster she became when his rig pulled out of the driveway. Brenda's cruelty wasn't just physical. She'd lock Lily in her room for hours, deny her dinner, call her names that made Lily feel like she was disappearing. "Your mom was a nobody. And you're worse." Brenda would spit, her words as bruising as her hands. Lily's life at Jefferson Middle School wasn't much better. She was quiet, her clothes secondhand and often mismatched, her brown hair always pulled back in a messy ponytail. The other kids didn't bully her outright, but they didn't notice her either. Her only friend, Mia, a weary girl with braces who lived in the trailer park down the road, knew something was wrong but couldn't get Lily to talk. "You're always so jumpy," Mia said one day at lunch, pushing half her peanut butter sandwich toward Lily. "Is it your stepmom again?" Lily just stared at her tray, her stomach twisting. She wanted to tell Mia everything about the bruises, the locked doors, the nights she cried herself to sleep, but fear glued her lips shut. What if Brenda found out? What if it got worse? The trailer park was a forgotten corner of Warren County, where rusted cars sat on cinder blocks and American flags frayed on porches. Most folks worked at the Amazon warehouse or the Dollar General distribution center, scraping by in a town where hope felt like a luxury. Lily's dad, Tom, was no different. He'd been a good father once, reading her bedtime stories about princesses and dragons. But grief and long hours had dulled his edges. He'd met Brenda at a truck stop diner, charmed by her quick smile and promises to take care of Lily. He didn't see the calculation in her eyes, the way she saw Lily as a burden, a reminder of Tom's old life. One November evening, the abuse took a darker turn. Brenda, furious that Lily had spilled a glass of milk on the kitchen floor, grabbed her by the arm and dragged her to the basement. The air down there was damp, smelling of mold and motor oil. Brenda shoved Lily into a corner where a rusty chain-link dog crate sat, left over from a pit bull they'd once had. "You want to act like an animal? You can sleep like one," Brenda hissed, locking the crate's door. Lily curled up inside, her thin frame shivering on the concrete floor, too scared to cry. Above her, the floorboards creaked as Brenda paced, muttering about how Lily was ruining everything. Hours passed. Lily's mind drifted to her mom, to the way she'd sing "You Are My Sunshine" while brushing Lily's hair. She tried to hold onto that memory, but it felt like chasing a ghost. Upstairs, Brenda turned on the TV, the laugh track of some sitcom drowning out the storm. Lily's stomach growled. She hadn't eaten since breakfast, but worse than the hunger was the shame. She believed Brenda's words, that she was worthless, that she deserved this. Tom wasn't due back for another week, but fate had other plans. His rig broke down outside Dayton, and rather than wait for repairs, he caught a ride home early with another driver. It was past midnight when his boots hit the gravel driveway. The trailer was dark except for the flicker of the TV. He figured Lily was asleep. Brenda maybe passed out after a few drinks. He wanted to surprise them, maybe take Lily for pancakes at Waffle House in the morning like they used to. He stepped inside, dropping his duffel bag by the door. The living room was a mess: empty beer cans, cigarette butts, a plate of half-eaten pizza. "Brenda," he called softly, frowning. No answer. He checked the kitchen, then Lily's room. Her bed was empty, the stuffed rabbit lying on the floor. A chill ran through him. He called her name, louder now, his voice echoing in the quiet trailer. That's when he heard it, a faint whimper from the basement. Tom's heart dropped. He took the stairs two at a time, flipping on the single bulb that hung from the ceiling. The sight stopped him cold. Lily, curled up in the dog crate, her face pale, her eyes wide with fear. "Dad," she whispered, her voice breaking. Tom's hands shook as he fumbled with the lock, his mind racing. "Lily, what the hell?" He yanked the door open, pulling her into his arms. She was so small, so fragile, her body trembling against his flannel shirt. "Brenda did this?" he asked, his voice low, dangerous. Lily nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she let herself cry, the sobs tearing out of her like something wild. Tom held her tighter, his own eyes burning. He carried her upstairs, setting her on the couch with a blanket. "Stay here," he said, his voice shaking with rage. He stormed into the bedroom where Brenda was sprawled across the bed, snoring. He shook her awake, his grip rough. "What did you do to my daughter?" he roared. Brenda blinked, groggy, then smirked. "She needed discipline, Tom. You're never here, you don't see how she acts." Tom's fist clenched, but he didn't hit her. He wanted to, God help him, but he wouldn't let Lily see him like that. Instead, he grabbed Brenda's arm, pulling her toward the door. "Get out," he said, his voice cold as steel. "Now." Brenda laughed, a bitter, ugly sound. "You think you can raise her alone? You're gone all the time. She's better off with me." But Tom was done listening. He shoved her coat into her arms and pointed to the door. "If I ever see you near her again, I'll make sure you regret it." Brenda cursed him, cursed Lily, but she left, her car peeling out of the driveway into the rain. Tom sank onto the couch beside Lily, who was still clutching the blanket. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, his voice breaking. Lily looked down, her fingers twisting the fabric. "I thought you wouldn't believe me. She said you'd choose her." Tom's chest ached. He pulled her close, kissing the top of her head. "Never, Lily. You're my world. I'm so sorry." The days that followed were raw, messy. Tom took a week off work, something he hadn't done in years. He and Lily really talked for the first time since her mom died. She told him everything: the belt, the locked rooms, the words that hurt worse than the bruises. Tom listened, his jaw tight, guilt eating him alive. He'd failed her, left her with a woman who'd turned their home into a prison. He called a lawyer, filed for full custody, and got a restraining order against Brenda. The county sheriff, a tired man named Jenkins who'd seen too many stories like this, promised to keep an eye out. Lily started seeing a counselor at school, a kind woman named Ms. Harper who helped her untangle the shame Brenda had woven into her. It wasn't easy. Lily still flinched at loud noises, still woke up from nightmares about the crate. But she wasn't alone anymore. Mia came over more often, bringing her goofy laugh and endless stories about her cat. Tom cut back on his roots, taking local deliveries so he could be home every night. He wasn't perfect, he burned dinner half the time, and the trailer was still a mess, but he was trying. One Saturday, Tom took Lily to the county fair, something they hadn't done since she was little. The air smelled of cotton candy and fried dough, and the Ferris wheel lit up the night sky. Lily, holding a stuffed bear Tom had won at a ring toss, smiled for the first time in months. It wasn't a big smile, but it was real. Tom watched her, his heart heavy but hopeful. He'd spend the rest of his life making this right, he vowed. For Lily, he'd do anything. The trailer park was still the same: rusted cars, frayed flags, but inside their home, something was shifting. Lily started drawing again, filling a sketchbook with pictures of flowers and stars. She still carried scars, ones you could see and ones you couldn't. But she was finding her way back to herself, and Tom, for all his mistakes, was right there with her, learning to be the father she needed. The rain still fell sometimes, but it didn't feel so heavy anymore.